Whose game is it?
Alabama! But to be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo!
Here comes Alabama.
Here comes Alabama cruising to a 52-7 victory over perennial FCS powerhouse Mercer. You've tuned in to the Bama Standard Post-Game Show brought to you by Title Towel. Before we get started, let's go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. This Get Rowdy live chat. I know we didn't play a marquee opponent, but we still need your energy today. If you're watching a replay, get down in the comment section below. Show us love there. I'm Justin Riley, your host. With me is a powerhouse crew, and that is led by none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Daniel Petty from the Final Whistle and the opening kick on Monday nights. And then next to him, number 11 on the field, number 1 in your hearts, a man that Rico Scott channeled today with that amazing touchdown, Matt Cadell.
What's going on, Roll Tide?
Yes, sir. Just below him, number 32 on the field, number 1 in your hearts, the king of Crockpot himself from the Final Whistle, Chris James.
Baby.
And last but not least, the queen of the Bama Standard Network and the Crimson Dynasty, She Payne. What's going on?
Roll Tide, roll.
Absolutely. Huge win carried by none other than Robbie Oots today, and that spectacular catch from him, 44 yards. Gotta love it when a guy who normally doesn't get seen gets an opportunity to do something big. Really excited about what he was able to do. But let's go ahead and talk about it. What we like to do is always is give our immediate reactions. Again, this wasn't a marquee matchup. It's nothing really to be excited about, but it did allow us to see a lot of different things today, and a lot of players who normally don't get playing time, they got valuable reps today. So this may come in handy as our quest for the playoffs goes on. So let's start things out with our instant reactions. You know what? I will start out with Cishi, and then we'll go to Chris James, and then Matt Cadell, and Daniel Petty. Cishi, your first reaction, your knee-jerk reaction, what you saw, were you pleased? Do we need to still work on some things? What you got?
Honestly, I would say no. I mean, exactly what I, expected to see is what we saw. I was glad to see not just Milroe and Ty Simpson, but I wanted to see Dylan Lonergan, and I also wanted to see Austin Mack, because to me, this is a game where, you want to see those guys get those valuable reps. But then I believe we had at least 5 different running backs out there as well. You have Kevin Riley, Daniel Hill, Richard Young, Jam, and Justice. So I think that was awesome the way that they were able to work those guys in. A lot of it had to do with the fact that we were able to get out there and score early and contain their offense. Because like I said, I mean, I believe they were like 9-1 and they were first in their conference, so that speaks volumes regardless. But I'm proud of our guys, the receivers, seeing Cuevas come up with that huge catch from Ty Simpson. That was huge. So I'm just proud of them, and just how they kind of swarm around each other to support each other as well, because although there's competition at each position group, they're still supportive of each other, and it seems like they finally found that glue that they needed and that identity. So to me, this is a team that can certainly go all the way.
The glue that the post-game show needed, making his first appearance of the season, Chris James. Glad to have you here, sir. We have missed you, but listen, I know as a DB, you saw a lot today from our guys. Bray Hubbard, you've been bragging about him for the past several weeks with good reason. Again, had a solid performance. He gets better week after week. But talk about the DBs as a whole in this game, what you saw from them and the improvement they've been making from week to week.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the young secondary. They're growing up right before our eyes. The play of the day that stood out to me was when Damani Jackson blitzed and got the strip fumble. That was a play. That was a thing of beauty, man. That guy keeps boosting his stock every game he goes up there, and I think he's going to be a first-round pick this year, because he was already going to test off the charts, but now he's backing it up with tape. He shut down Kyron Lason last week. This week he shows that he can be effective as a blitzer, because I think like NFL teams realize that guys like that are important because they overlook Brian Branch. Look what Brian Branch is doing. He's probably playing better than any DB in the NFL right now. And that's the type of athlete that Money Jackson is. He's a guy that can play the run and the pass equally effective. And he's just a playmaker, fast, explosive. The back end, man, it's just those guys, man, like Xavier and Brian, they don't look like freshmen anymore. Mm-hmm. They're growing up, man. And like I said, I think that since Bray Hubbard has been in the lineup, that boosted our secondary as a whole. I think he was a kickstart, fire starter for us, man, on the back end. And we got more explosive back there. So just to see those guys continue to rotate in and continue to get valuable reps, I think our best football is still ahead of us as a unit. And not only this year going into the playoffs, but also into next year and the year after. With those guys being on there. But I just like what I saw today, man. And guys rotating in, they're happy for each other. They're making plays, they're celebrating together. Now we're looking like a team and not a bunch of individuals. That's the thing that stood out the most today.
Gotcha. Well, Matt, you have been on Nick Sheridan's case for the past several weeks, and be honest with you, just judging by the play calling and decision making, I think he's been listening. At least he's been watching the final whistle, because literally everything that you have demanded of him happens the following Saturday. So I'm guessing that you have a burner phone that you're using during games to make these things happen. But in terms of how happy
pretty
you
special.
But in terms of what you saw today, I know we weren't going to see a lot just given the opponent, but where's your happiness level in terms of his play calling? And then what did you see from the receivers today, especially young guys?
I thought it was pretty vanilla, very basic play calling. Obviously we put up 50-some points, but some drives, I don't know if he was just very vanilla, not trying to show too much to Oklahoma and Auburn. I still want to see a little bit more pistol. I still want to see a little bit more of, rotating the running backs. I think Richard Young needs to get a little bit more burn on the offensive running back field. Because I think him and Jam have the best vision. Just me personally. But outside of that, Milroe, it was just very predictable offense. You knew what was coming. But yeah, I thought we need to get in a little bit more rhythm, but still, it was one drive. We ran 3 straight passes and we went 3 and out in the third quarter or something. And I'm like, why don't we just run the ball, kind of control the game? So hopefully Nick Sheridan is not getting in bad habits. But offensively, we had a few drops. I got to call my receivers out. We had a few drops. I think Odom had one. Jeremy Bernard had one. And I think Hamilton had one towards the end. But, we got to ice that out. And I think I think we got a lot of stuff to improve on going into Oklahoma and Auburn these next 2 weeks. But all in all, I think it was a great game. We got a lot of depth. We got a lot of guys to get confidence moving forward. So I'm glad a lot of guys got to play.
Absolutely. And I really hate that Caleb Odom was not able to come down with that ball. It's certainly something that he's been needing. We've been talking about him the past several weeks, and then he's also voiced his frustrations and not being seen for several games. And he had the opportunity today to really be center stage and kind of have a emergence, but he wasn't able to really grasp it. So I hate it for him. But with the few games we have remaining, maybe he can become that guy and give Milroe an extra option other than just Ryan Williams. But you never can go wrong with Ryan Williams. As he showed today, he's an absolute cheat code, and I think he's on loan to Alabama from the NFL. Mercer certainly found that out the hard way. But a man who's never short of words, Daniel Petty, give us the overall, what you took from this. I know that you were bored. You were playing Angry Birds in the middle of the game because it wasn't quite the entertainment value it was last week, but I think you probably saw a few things. What did you like about it? What did entertain you? And do you think that Alabama's energy level was where it needed to be?
At times, I thought you saw it from certain players. No doubt Jahad Campbell brought it today. He was playing with fire and passion. I think he led the team in tackles, and he's really kind of growing into that mold of Alabama linebacker. He's just one of those dudes. But at times I did, even though, you jump out, deuces were wild early there, right? Ryan Williams and Brown scoring. We just saw twos running into the end zone there for a minute. But then after he jumped out to that big lead, I felt like we kind of got sleepy there towards the end of the first half. But even with that, those games, the only way, let's be real, it's Mercer. To get the guys up for that game is kind of hard to do. You're going to have some lapses at times. But what you want to see is everybody, a wholesale coming off the bench. And by midway through the third quarter, when you're starting to bring in you were able to bring up the score enough to unload the bench. And that's what I'll be honest, that's where my attention started rising in the game, is when you started seeing the backups coming in. I wanted to see Young run the ball. I was glad to see Hill in. Like you said, I was glad to see Odom really targeted there when Ty. So you got to see a little bit of what Odom could do. So, yeah, it was more in a game like that, man. We know what we got from the starters right now. You don't want anybody injured, and you want to see what the backups can do and get some actual game reps and help. We were going down to the water boy at the end. So it was can't ask for more, man. You beat them 52-7. Your defense got the stops it needed to. One sloppy, like I said, kind of got a little lackadaisical, I thought, there in the second quarter. But outside of that, man, you got everybody playing time today, and main thing is stayed healthy in a game like this going into the stretch run.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody got to play. Towards the end, that wasn't Kevin Riley. That was actually Stephen M. Smith. You saw the vision in between the tackles. He was able to get through. So shout out to Stephen M. Smith for his big day. He used his
saw big goggles out there on that.
He used his last 25 minutes.
Will Chamberlain back in the day.
Eric Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson with the glasses running back.
I don't know. It kind of looked to me more like Horace Grant, but hey. Congratulations to Stephen M. Smith for his 25 minutes of eligibility. He exhausted. But yeah, tremendous performance. Jahai Campbell, this man undoubtedly is undisputed first round draft pick. He keeps adding stacks on top of stacks with his playing ability. Quay Russaw, that man can't make a play without being a highlight reel. Good gosh. It's like, you know what? I'm going to make the play, but I'm going to have some style points to go with it. God, what a tremendous athlete. Definitely made up for the fact we had Q Robinson out. The announcer could tell us Q Robinson's correct name, but we know who he was talking about.
Yeah, I caught that too.
And man, listen, guys, we should have given Caden Proctor that touchdown. Come on, refs.
Yeah.
You can't take it away from the big man.
Yeah. I would have just given it to him. Like, you know what? Let him have his moment. It wouldn't have made too much of a difference. So.
Well, and it's at those moments, I know you got to play the game, yada, yada, but are we serious? Do you think this damn team is going to stop Alabama 4 times in a row on the 1 yard line? Let's not waste everybody's life with 6 minutes of replays.
Please.
Give it to the big man. Give it to the big man.
If anything, come on, Sheridan. Put Caden Proctor in the backfield. Put a substitute tackle in his spot and let him power through there to get his moment of glory that you ungraciously took away from him. But hey, we can't get it back. But shout out to the big man for the effort, at least. Before we move on to our first topic, no game is complete without an assessment from Don Parker. Yes, I'm saying it. No improvement and not the standard. Too many missed tackles on defense, not being able to actually run the ball. No improvement in execution and physicality. Let's keep it 100.
God, I love it, Don. I wish I could put that energy into Mercer.
That's you, Nick.
I'd say Don's actually Nick Saban. He watches our show.
Always kind of brings us back to reality. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, he is right. There were several instances where the defense whiffed on run ball carriers in the backfield. Could have had several people for a loss and didn't capitalize on it. Could have ended drives if we would have just wrapped up and knocked people back. But again, you bring up in games like this, it's just hard to really get that full throttle going all ball game. So as long as it's not against Oklahoma, then I got no problem. Today, you can kind of get away with it. Chris?
Let's get some players on that, Justin. Matt, Chris, what games like this after a long, rugged grind of SEC, and then all of a sudden you look up and you've got Georgia State, Mercer South. How do you get? I mean, was that hard for y'all to get up, or did y'all see that as a chance to get some stats?
Man, we were just trying to get a win.
Yeah, they just want to get a win. But I will say, I was a little nervous because Mercer is a solid team. Like I got
9-1.
They're not their defense. They put a lot of 5-6 man fronts, a lot of blitzes for us. They got good schematics offensively that put a lot of challenges on us. So. But I was a little nervous going in. I was like,
you were nervous going into this game.
Yeah, I was like, are we gonna show up? Last time we had a big victory versus Georgia. We laid an egg versus Vanderbilt. Just had a big victory versus LSU, where we're gonna lay an egg versus Mercer. And we got a big victory. So I think it was good road test. I think Mercer. I'm glad Mercer was a solid team instead of a true cupcake team. You get what I'm saying? Especially going in the road to Oklahoma and Auburn. So it's going to be they had a solid defense. We got a lot of things to work on. We had 2 turnovers. Milroe fumbled, Haynes fumbled. We got to get that cleaned up. We mentioned the drops. So I think it's a lot of, as Don Parker said, we got a lot of reasons.
Don's getting on the offensive line, and to back up his point, if you look at the yards per carry between Jam and Justice and some guys, I mean, they're only averaging 3 yards a carry today against, Mercer. That's something you expect to be bigger.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? It's come to the point where I think it may be time to start giving Richard Young some
Absolutely.
carries.
Yeah.
Because somebody, one of my friends mentioned, he said, hey, man, he said, Haynes running like he's saving himself for the portal. Not trying to get hurt.
He's not even seeing the hole
at all.
They said Ohio State. I was just joking, but seriously though, man. But it's like we didn't have a problem when Young got in there. The run, I know it was different, but when he gets in there, he makes something happen. And it's like we're not running the daylight, man. It's like we're not seeing the cutback holes. We're not seeing the. It's like we're running with our heads down. Just get 2-3 yards bowling forward. Like Richie Young runs and he cuts and he gets there with intention. And it seems like Justin hasn't done that in a while.
He reminds me more of that Bo Scarborough mold, man. He's one of those bigger backs that runs hard.
Yeah,
but can get skinny when he has to.
Yeah, we gotta get, especially these next 2 weeks. We gotta find ways to get Richard Young in the game earlier, especially when we're trying to run the ball and like control, like when we just need yards.
Yep.
Like, okay, Richie Young, it's your time. Like, we're gonna give you 3 plays, handle your business, whatever.
We need to flip the field.
Because I think Justice Haynes is not seeing the hole. I think he needs to delay a second or something, because every run he's running the rear end of somebody.
I was just say, according to you, he's seeing a hole. He's just running into the wrong one.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I don't know when we keep putting him out there. I'm like, why are we putting this guy out?
But see, Jam is so valuable in the passing game. Jam isn't built like, you look at Jam, you wouldn't think that he would be as good in the passing game as that he is. And him in the passing game, he just adds an extra element.
Yeah.
Well, Don Parker was upset about what he saw on the field. Now, Ephraim, on the other hand, went a totally different direction. I'm more upset with Tyson Jake fight last night.
I'm more upset I stayed up for it.
I think we can all agree to that.
Hey y'all, did y'all notice ESPN on their stats for the game? They listed Caden Proctor like as negative 100 rushing yards. Like, I don't know if they felt some type of way when he was celebrating or something, but they literally put him as negative 100. I'm like, come on now.
No love for the showboats. Dang.
Yeah.
Who did that?
They had it on ESPN. They may have cleaned it up now. I don't know. Let me. I want to check.
We were on ESPN Ocho, guys. Let's be real.
That is true.
It was the Ocho.
But it was the one that never came out. Was it Ocho? Which one never came out? They talking about was going to come and never came out. ESPN.
Ocho's still thriving, man. I think Auburn was on Telemundo.
Yeah.
Hey, they had Auburn on Tubi.
Hey,
you see your best friend in the background walking by.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, they still have him listed as negative 100 rushing yards. That's so weird.
rough
wow.
day.
That is the funniest thing I heard.
That's hilarious.
Let's move into our first topic. What we like to do, especially those of you who are new, Chris, we like to talk about our expectations going into this game. We all predicted what we wanted to see throughout the week and what we thought was going to happen. And then we like to compare it with what we actually see play out on the field. So let's talk about how both those matched up. Chris, since this is your first time here this season, let's talk about your expectation versus reality. How'd that play out? Did Alabama kind of follow suit, or did it not quite follow along with what you wanted? Then go to Cishi, then Daniel, and then Matt.
I expected the game to turn out the way it did, and actually, I was surprised by how many guys played. We had more guys to play that I thought that we were, especially having 4 quarterbacks playing, all the backs. You know, I thought we would be able to run it better, but other than that, I mean, we did what we were supposed to do. I mean, no need to really open it up against Mercer on the offensive play in the passing game. Just and I don't know if we're gonna have to open it up these next 2 games either until we get to Atlanta, to be honest, because Oklahoma struggles so bad offensively that I think that we're not gonna have to open it up. And so we're saving today. Like we opened it when we really didn't open it up last week. All we did last week was just run the ball. So when was the last time we really opened it up in the passing game?
Georgia.
Yeah. Probably Georgia.
Wisconsin, maybe.
Yeah. Man, we in Tennessee, it wasn't that we opened it up. We were forced to throw it.
I mean, opened it up in Vandy, but had to.
Yeah, it wasn't offense. It wasn't on the offense in Vandy because we just couldn't get no stops. You know, that's what cost us. Miller was still threw for 300 yards, and that pick 6 hurt us. But that wasn't his fault. That was, a flukish play. But it pretty much went how I expected it. I knew that, like I said, I knew we weren't gonna just sling it around like that. But the only disappointment I take from it was not being able to really run it with Justice and Haynes. I thought both of them may have ended up with like 85 yards rushing a piece, or somebody would have hit a long 75 yard. You know. What we do in those types of games, we didn't have that today. That long, strike that we normally have. But other than that, defense continues to play lights out, and I still think that Jahad Campbell is the best linebacker in the country. He's proven that week in and week out. And Domani Jackson may be a top 3 corner in the country.
Yeah. Listen, Jahad might go top 10.
Yes.
Has,
like before the year, we were trying to see, like, remember, Matt, we were talking, we were like, who's going to be the first rounders this year? Do we have any?
Yeah.
Because it looks like Booker may come back, but you don't see guards leave early. You know what I'm saying? For the draft.
They got Booker, from what I saw, Milroe, Booker, Campbell. Who's the 4th?
Some have Lawson on the borderline, the end of the first. I've seen Lawson on a couple, but definitely Domani, Campbell, those 2 definitely for sure. So we know we will at minimum we'll have 2 to go in the first round this year. Milroe, so we have a minimum of 3. So
I saw 4 last screenshot I saw.
That's good.
Well, Cishi, let us know as far as what you talked about here on the Crimson Dynasty. If anyone missed that episode, definitely go back. Fantastic episode this past Wednesday night. But your expectations for Alabama in this game, did they actually live up to that? Did it play out the way you felt it would?
I would say yes. Offensively, I did expect us to start fast. I believe coming off of not just the win against LSU, but the way we won. It's just people were talking about it throughout the week because the way that we just shut down LSU at LSU. So I think because we were able to play them and win the way that we did, we still felt like we had something to prove, and we're still kind of like that mindset of we know there's still some naysayers, so we still want to let them know. And so I did expect us to start fast, and I felt like if we started fast, we would definitely see Ty Simpson and Dylan Lonergan. I did not necessarily expect to see Austin Mack just because I wasn't sure at what point. It seems like even in some of our other games where you would expect to see other quarterbacks, they kept Milroe in a little bit longer than I would have liked to have seen them. And when that happened, we weren't able to put Simpson in until the last few minutes of the game. So I was glad to see Austin Mack get out there. Of course, Lonergan Oregon. So offensively, I wasn't too surprised. I expected us to start fast. Now, defensively, I did say on Crimson Dynasty that I was hopeful that this would be the game where we would actually score on defense, like actually capitalize and score points, because, you know, we have forced turnovers throughout the season, but I don't recall them ever turning into any types of points per se, especially a touchdown, like with I believe Xavier Brown today. And I believe they did say this was our first defensive score, you know, so yeah. So I was definitely proud to see that. I think that kind of, you know, maybe it seems especially like defense, they feed off of each other quickly. So when they see certain guys like Bray or maybe Devontae or Damani, when they see them make those big plays, or even Quay Russaw, the other guys tend to it almost like they kind of like iron sharpens iron. Like, okay, we all need to, you know, get it together. Right. But I would say the outcome was not far from what I expected.
Okay, fair enough. Petty, add to that. I always love to hear your feedback. How impressed were you with what we were able to do? And more importantly, I guess, were your expectations for the backups? You feel like they got enough quality reps in this game to really benefit later on, especially with the postseason approaching?
I mean, be greedy. I'd have liked to see them get the whole second half, but is what it is. Like I said, it felt like we were kind of going through a malaise there in the second quarter. But no, man, I think this is a national championship caliber team. I feel like something clicked in the losses. I've seen it with a few teams. You're either seeing teams kind of breaking losses or kind of come together. I feel like Alabama came together with all the turmoil after Vanderbilt and Tennessee, and it's really gelled. Now you're seeing them hit their stride when you want to hit your stride, when there's now playoffs. It's not just about winning one game. It's about winning several. So you want to get hot at the right time. And this is a team that was able to kind of sleepwalk to a 52-7 victory and get pretty much unload the bench. So, yeah, man, my expectations were that this team is a national championship caliber team. You can beat teams like Mercer to death like this. Don't get anybody hurt. Basically treat it as a practice game, but also an off week to get some guys rested. Not putting so much, not putting a full game of emotions into it like an SEC game where you can kind of get some guys' legs rested a little bit. So, yeah, expectations and reality were completely met in this game. I think Alabama is on a trajectory to make a run at a national title right now.
All right, Matt, close it up. Take what Petty said. Do you feel the same way he does as far as being on trajectory to possibly another national title? And have you seen enough today? Well, you can also throw in LSU and maybe Missouri to say that this claim is valid.
I think there's potential. I just need us to just run the ball more with more, like I said, pistol, shotgun. I feel like if we can do that and control the game, make it easier for our offense, because I feel like we always got the passing plays and the explosive plays. That's going to be there. I feel like the more we can run the ball from different positions, different formations, that's just going to help us on down the line. And I feel like we get in a better offensive rhythm offensively. But I have to agree with that. I do think they have national championship caliber potential, but now we got to go focus on Oklahoma. We just got to handle what we have in front of us. To me, that's going to show the true testament of a champion, how you handle, be where your feet are. It's Oklahoma right now. Let's focus on these guys and dominating them, and then, get ready for the Iron Bowl. So, after that, whatever happens, whether it's SEC championship or playoff, I'll be proud of these guys if they finish the regular season like they did. But I will say expectations. This officiating crew was, oh my God,
good Lord,
good gracious! You talking about? I was like, they were just trying to rig the game the first drive. I was like, pass interferences, like 2 third downs converted to first downs. I was like, come on now. But the expectations were officiating was going to get better. The reality is, it's not. So.
Well, you can say they're consistent.
when the SEC primetime games are shit officiating, the Ocho game is going to get the dude they picked up on the street prior on Thursday. Hey, buddy, Can you wear this outfit? And if they say yes,
Yeah, the
they're now
sign said
SEC
we'll
rep.
work
Man,
for free.
you had a handful of dudes answer an ad from Craigslist. That's exactly what we saw today.
True.
All right, before we move on to our next topic, gotta give a shout out again to Don Parker for the super chat. $20. Yes, I'm disappointed with the lack of improvement from Bama. Yes, Jones got mossed today, and that was a great play by Mercer. You really can't argue that one-handed grab. And yes, Mike Tyson, you need to sit down and bow out gracefully. But thank you, Don. We greatly appreciate you. We always love to give you a shout out. We give you a hard time because we love you. But listen, we know what the standard is, and you always have to keep us grounded. So thank you for always doing that. All right, next topic. Let's talk about the things that surprised us in this game. Again, not really a big marquee matchup, nothing really outstanding, but maybe there are a few things that we saw that kind of took us by surprise that ultimately had an effect in the game. Start us out this time, Patty. Then we'll go to Matt, down to Chris, and Sishi.
What surprised me? Shit. The defense just playing it. I mean, I know again that one touchdown where the kid got mossed. That look, man, hell of a play. Hats off to him. But I love what Chris brought up. That play by Damani Jackson blitzing out of the backfield. I thought the defense played it. I think the defense just keeps getting better. I know Don's not happy about all the missed tackles, but we've talked about Campbell. We've talked about Hubbard. I mean, I just this defense seems to be getting better and better. I mean, look, guys. Went to LSU last weekend and held a really damn good offense to 6 points in their house. That's an LSU team that's been scoring on everybody,
Yeah,
and we just shut them down. And then to back it up in a game where, yeah, you might have missed some tackle slip walk, but guys kept making plays. So I guess it hell, I wasn't surprised. I'm trying to think of what I surprised. I wasn't surprised by anything, man. I thought this was what. Maybe I was surprised that we did start rotating quarterbacks so quick there at the end and didn't just finish with Lonergan. I mean, midway through a drive, you took Lonergan out. I figured we'd get to see him finish that drive, but then we got to see Austin Mack throw a dime that was an unbelievable catch by Rico Scott. So I'm trying to be surprised by beating the shit out of Mercer, but I'm just not.
Well, I'm more so looking at maybe the small things that they.
And that's what, like I said, defense special plays that you saw from guys. I'm surprised we're now seeing more of the package of wide receiver reverses. Maybe we're just holding it to later in the season, but we're seeing it more with Ryan Williams than K-Law. But I'm like you. I'm surprised the line don't block better for K-Law when he does get his chances. God bless. Every time he got it, he got his head ripped off.
I guess I'm surprised with that part, what you just said. You definitely noticed a drop off today with Jaden Roberts out of the lineup. Jaden is banged up. Nothing major, but we'll be back next week when we go to Norman. I kind of expected better from Geno Vandermark. I also expected better from Elijah Pritchett, but Elijah Pritchett, tell us who you are. And
maybe that's it. Maybe that's my surprise, Justin. In a game like this, I expected Bama to maybe throw 10 passes and have 2 or 3 guys rush for over 100 yards. And that's maybe the biggest surprise, that it wasn't more of just a rushing explosion in this game to just kind of grind this team to death. And where you have Jam with 100, Milrow with 80, but not too much because you don't want to run him to death. And then Justice blows up for 160. And you didn't really see that. So maybe that's my surprise. That's it.
Well, I think that Jam may have eventually got there. It seemed at one point he was getting in a rhythm, but we completely went away from him, which we tend to do a lot this season. When Jam starts to get into a little bit of a rhythm, we veer away from him, and then you forget that he hadn't touched the ball for 2 quarters, and then he's inserted back in the lineup. You're like, oh, here he is. So that's kind of one thing that bothered me, not giving him more touches that he needed and really getting that 100-yard game that is due for him. Matt, what was a surprise to you, or did you really have many things that kind of took you off guard?
Yeah, I just, like you all said, I'm going to stay on Nick Sheridan. Like, we just need to run the ball. Like, get these next 2 weeks just need to be goals of getting our running backs over 75 yards each. We need to find creative ways just to pound the rock. That's going to make the game plan so much easier. It's going to take a lot of weight off Jalen Milrow. But to this topic, what surprised me, listen, that QB room, man, we got Keelan Russell coming in. I'm trying to figure this thing out. I'm not trying to jump ahead, but I'm like, man, Mac look good, Simpson look good, Lonergan look good. You know the talented Keelan Russell, but man, sheesh. That's going to be some competition. Comes out on. I think it's going to be 2 guys possibly next year, but man, I was just surprised at how the ball looks coming out of Austin Mack's hand. The resiliency Ty Simpson played with looks like he kind of got back in his flow after, a few, 3 and outs, and hit Quavers with the big deep pass. Lonergan's he's a go-getter. So yeah, that would surprise me. I didn't know how good. I knew we had a good QB room, but man, them guys, sheesh, we might have the best QB room in the country.
It's gonna be hard keeping all of them for sure. Chris, well, what are your thoughts, brother?
SEC refs are absolute horse shit. This horse shit. SEC refs, you guys are horse shit. Whatever they pay y'all, go donate it to like a charity because they deserve it. You don't. Sorry.
Yeah.
If for context, if you're watching the South Carolina Missouri game, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah. What I was surprised by is why is Richard Young still getting garbage time reps?
Absolutely. I mean, you're right. Why is he not being worked into the first team? I mean, obviously he's got the best vision. I mean, he's got the best burst. He doesn't hesitate. He just does it.
And he's so big and physical and explosive.
But do y'all feel like because we've been saying all season that we need to establish the run and we were lacking in that area for so long that now that we finally have it, we're kind of forced to focus more on Jam and Justice for now. You know what I mean? Like it'll be different if we were doing this throughout the entire season. But to be honest, we literally just started running the ball consistently. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like they're trying to make up for lost time with Justice and Jam, and then they're going to probably, pull Richard in. I would say probably Auburn. I feel like it's going to be Auburn.
But
use him before you lose him.
I'm looking at Gillespie. I'm like, Gillespie, okay, you're the best running backs coach in the game. My eyes see the same thing you see? Richard Young is a bona fide player. Get him on the field. It's not.
There's a five star coming out of high school out of Florida, man.
He runs better than Haynes right now, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Haynes gets all the hype. If it's me, I'm going Jam, Richard Young, and then Haynes coming in. I'm sorry, it's just right now we need to get explosive guys on the field.
Well, you gotta change things up. Right now, other coaches, they know our tendencies.
Yeah,
we follow our script to a T. You throw somebody else in there like a Richard Young, it completely goes against what we have been doing. Yeah, we got to differentiate what we're doing and how we're spreading the ball. Absolutely, and that's one of the things that your boy Siski has been talking about too at nauseum, Petty. I mean, that even AJ McCarron as well, but
yeah.
Use a two, and also use a 2-back set, man. Start using, have both of them out there at the same time. Yeah. Instead of all those tight ends and receivers.
They did that with Jam and Justice a few plays.
Yeah, and but other than that, and I mean, nothing. Like I said, nothing really surprised me other than why is he still being used, and other than that, man, I was surprised by the amount of missed tackles that Zero had. He's been diving, man.
Are you really?
Campbell has passed him.
Really surprised?
Are you really surprised? We've been talking about all season.
But Campbell has surpassed him, man, as our alpha.
Yeah.
Yes. Russo's better.
Oh man, Russo, man, that interception, he does it again, man. That guy is a human highlight film, man.
I love Russo. Russo's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've been waiting to hear what Sushi has to say. What took you off guard, or did everything just play out as you thought it would?
Well, I thought that we would actually utilize this game to, we always talk about opening the playbook, but I would have wanted to see more creativity. Like a lot of times on our different shows, we'll talk about, okay, well, why don't we have Ty Simpson and Milroe in at the same time sometimes, just kind of practicing those type of plays to where when we go to Oklahoma or Auburn, that's something that's comfortable. And maybe they practice it, but my thing is like, I would rather see us do that against an actual opponent. So just kind of seeing, I wanted to see a little bit more creativity, because some of it was just very what's the word, like it was just so predictable at times. Yeah. And I'm just like, that's not, I mean, you can do that, but once you're up 28 or 31-7, why not practice those trick plays? You know what I mean? Like, when you play a little raggedy Auburn who, barely wins games, when they play you, when they play Alabama, they're going to think that there's someone, and we need to like be able to say, absolutely not. You're not coming in Tuscaloosa with your garbage. Like, I mean, we just have to be ready to do that. And I feel like this would have been the perfect opportunity to practice, like sending them backpacking with their trail of dust and L's to Auburn. Like, they shouldn't even be in Tuscaloosa in the first place. Like, don't get me started on Auburn. Like, y'all know I can't stand them, but
we love it when you
I
share
enjoy
the
it.
gospel according to Sishi when it comes to the
Yeah,
evil
they're just
spirit
so
known as Auburn down there in the
disgusting.
plains.
See,
But
when you start cooking on Auburn, sweetheart, we're never going to stop you.
I
at
mean,
all.
Let it cook.
and I'm just saying, like, and then people have the audacity to ride around with these little ugly Auburn tags. Like, where is that pride coming from? Like 2013 with that little,
Well,
like what? No, absolutely not.
I tell you, someone who's never predictable and who always is bringing the heat and the excitement, that's when he leaves his press box, is one Stephen M. Smith. You've been chomping at the bit. We saw you
Good
got
job on your run.
Yeah, good. We saw you got to play today.
You
We know
got
that
into
what
play today, Steve.
we know that wasn't Kevin Riley. That was you. Dude,
Yeah,
those
man,
jump
you know,
cuts.
The
they
vision
put
was
me out
impeccable.
there. They put me out there halfback one time. I told him I still got that 4.5 speed.
Okay.
in the 10?
Yeah, man.
And that cutback still there. I saw that vision.
Yeah, man. They still told me I could do it, Justin.
Hey,
Did you beat
Steven,
up Opie
somebody,
Taylor on the way to this game and steal his hat?
Say it again.
You beat up Opie Taylor and steal his hat?
No, this my daughter had. My daughter gave me the hat.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna get you one to say Steve.
Yeah.
Welcome
real
in.
Steve.
The real, none gets none realer than him. But Steve, man, welcome to the show. Thanks for jumping in with us. We know you got a lot to share with us. You have the opportunity to see more than we did, literally. And you talked to folks after the game. Tell us what you've seen and what you've heard, and what we can really take away that maybe we hadn't talked about quite yet.
I thought the one thing, just going off the ticker here, the one thing that surprised me was just how many young guys got out there. We saw a lot of young guys. Shout out to Rico Scott. A touchdown catch for him. Rico got his, Austin Mack throwing a touchdown. Ty Simpson being out there. Dylan Larnigan, who I think is the best quarterback for the system, he got out there and did some things out there. But, guys, the defense, I mean, since the South Carolina game, Kane Womack been cooking, man. That man been cooking, man. In the crock pot, he been cooking.
in that kitchen, Steven.
I mean, I'm telling y'all, since the South Carolina game, 18 turnovers.
Yeah.
Since the South Carolina game, 18. Coach Kane been doing it. And I'm telling you, when he in that black hoodie, looking like the Dark Knight Rises, that man real. That man real.
That man real.
That man is straight real. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Man, 18 turnovers, God.
18.
That's a hell of it, and that's what he kind of preached coming in, that his defense created turnovers.
And it's starting to do it. And today, you get the first non-offensive touchdown from Xavier Brown with a combination of Deshaun Jones and Xavier Brown. Day Jones knocking the ball out, and Xavier right there.
Say, Steven, who?
Day Jones, baby, Day Jones.
My boy
Day
Day.
out there.
Not Day.
Tell him, Steven. Tell him, Steven. Well, Stephen, you've been in the trenches with all these guys, and you've talked about some things that we are just blown away by the 18 turnovers. But what was that flip the switch moment to where all of a sudden everything's on track, it's making sense, it's sinking in, these guys get it?
I think first and foremost, Kane Womack teaching these guys, right? It was going to take a minute for these guys to catch this 4-2-5. It was going to take a minute. And then part of it also is, guys, we're getting pressure, right? You're actually getting pressure, not just with, your front, with your linebackers, but your front group. You're starting to see some young bucks, Jordan Renard. You're starting to see James Smith, Edric Hill, Hunter Osborne. These guys are coming to life up front. Tim Smith, Tim Keenan. These guys are getting the understanding that we got to pressure this pocket. Once we hit this pocket, then you're going to see Jihad Campbell turn up. And we're seeing Campbell turn up. Then you're going to see Quay Russo turn up. And you're seeing that. And then that leads to these turnovers. So these guys have bought into, in order for this Kane Womack thing to work, we got to get pressure.
Hey, Steve, how good did it feel to see 20 James Smith, Overton, and Keenan out there together, Russo?
I got the crowd behind me right now.
Hey, get some live street interviews, Stephen.
I brought the whole people out here now.
You mean, where's your security at, Steve?
I know.
Yeah, Steve, where's your security?
Security detail.
They didn't come, man.
They told me it was the Mercer game, so they ain't either.
Look, man.
No.
I'm paying the wrong people.
You're gonna need it for Auburn, I tell you that.
Stephen, is it true that you walked into the press conference today wearing those shorts that Mike Tyson wore last night in the locker room?
Justin, that was a secret.
The Purple Rain special.
Man.
Yeah. I told y'all, man. I took them shorts from Mike. Mike was supposed to tell y'all, man.
Stephen, who is that breathing on your neck like that?
We got groupies.
We fans. We just good fans.
Hey,
Sorry,
Oh, hi, fans.
Man, we people, man.
Roll Tide.
Hey, y'all be sure to subscribe to the Bama Standard Network.
Hey, they here. Hey, what's going on? They here, man. They here, man. I mean, they here. They here. We all in a picture right now, man.
The life of Stephen M. Smith, everyone.
Man, y'all, man.
Everybody smile.
Oh my God, Stephen!
Crazy.
You gonna get escorted off the campus?
You are, man.
Man.
It's the life he chose.
Hey, appreciate it.
The life chose him. He didn't choose that life.
This will make this show
The
so
life
great.
chose me. I didn't choose it.
All right, Tupac, Steve.
Well, let's move on to our next topic. We're not nitpicking, but we do like to point out things that we did see that can help us move forward and navigate through the season. The positive and not so positive takeaways. Stephen Smith, now that your crowd has calmed down just a little bit, the autograph seekers and the t-shirt hounds, what were the positive takeaways you saw, and maybe some things that you felt weren't so good that we need to clean up before going to Norman? Then we'll jump down up to Petty, then down to Cici, over to Matt, then Chris will finish it up.
I think the first positive, guys, Jalen Milroe back throwing touchdowns, right? That was a major positive. We didn't see that against LSU, though we had 4 rushing touchdowns. We didn't see it against Missouri. We saw it today against Mercer. So he's back throwing touchdowns. We saw a very nice deep shot to Robbie Oops, the guy that does all the dirty work, gets a touchdown catch. So that was a major positive. We saw Ryan Williams back in the end zone. That was a major positive. We hadn't seen that in a couple of weeks as well. So those two are big. The Alabama offensive line, second straight week without giving up a sack. That was a major positive. I was happy to see that as well. Some not so positives. She mentioned this. I wanted more creativity from Nick Sheridan. I didn't quite get that. And you need to have more of that. After some creativity against LSU, we did not see that against Mercer. You got to have that, Nick Sheridan. We got to have you back in your bag right there. A not so positive, we got to have something on special teams. Somebody got to break one to the house.
You're right.
Somebody got to break a punt return or a kick return to the house one time. Just one time. I don't care who do it. If you put me out there and let me do it, somebody got to break a touchdown back to the house on special teams. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. I know that, Chris, you are limited on time, so I'll turn the mic over to you before we get back in the regular order. If you would speak on this, what were the positive takeaways and the not so positive? And before you exit out, tell the folks how they can find you on social media and your show.
Okay. The positives from it was how relentless we played all game. That's a good thing. We kept our foot on the gas. We didn't let up. You know, those times we've had leads and then we'll let a team kind of get some life at the end and we don't finish as strong, you know, as we started. But this game, we played a complete game, even the backups that came in. So that was very encouraging. The not so positive takeaways, like Steve said, we need some special teams touchdown, something big. We didn't have enough explosive plays, like as far as like that we should have against Mercer, the long touchdown runs, the long bombs, you know, things that we've hung our hat on for the last few years. I wanted to see more fireworks from the offense. But like I said, even though I think we kept it kind of vanilla, but it's not, you know, anything else I'll be nitpicky, and I don't want to do that. But I'm just happy, man. We came out with 52-7 win on our way to Oklahoma with momentum, because you're gonna need that in Norman.
I think the biggest thing with that, Chris, is you look at the beginning of the season, this was a big play offense, right? And we were looking at, you know, where the long sustained drives. Now we're getting more long sustained drives, and that's where the big play. So it's just putting both pieces together. That's the part now, is you got to put both pieces together at the right time, because now we're starting to see Bama get those 10, 12, 15 play drives, and they're finishing those things with touchdowns. Now it's just, can we put fast pace but then joyless murder ball together at the same time?
And you know what else? Miro didn't have to use his legs today. And that's something that we can always have in our back pocket, like we did against Georgia last year. And that's why I feel like we can win every game, because when we have to have it, Miro can put the team on his shoulders and get it done, you know, in the running game. And by us working on those other aspects, that's going to make us even more dangerous down the line when teams try to take away Miro. Now, what else do you have after that? So I like that that we're finding other ways to move the ball. But yeah, guys, but I gotta go. You can find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr., on Instagram at final_Wilson_Chris, and on X at Coach Chris James. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday night.
Sounds good, brother. We appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. All right, Petty pick up. What were your positive takeaways? Maybe not so positive. Not to beat a dead horse or anything, but we like to know what we're working with here. 52-7, yeah, lopsided victory, but there's still things. There are teachable moments.
Positive, no injuries in a game like today. You don't want to lose anybody big for the stretch. Biggest positive you can take away from a game like today is you stay healthy. Negative, we made Don Parker unhappy today. I just hate that we couldn't make Don's day. I hate that we couldn't live up to the standard here. And I'm sorry, Don. That's my negative, is that Don Parker is pissed off, and I'm sorry.
But Patty, I got to say this. With Don, it's like you got to have everything perfect.
You got to hit every cylinder with Don. And I love it. I hope Don realizes I almost look forward to, I'm waiting to see what he picks apart that my rainbow Kool-Aid drinking ass ain't looking at, because Don's going to come in with the heat. So I appreciate Don's candidness.
But man, before I hop off here, I gotta say this right here before I hop off. I think, number one, defensively, we are hitting guys at the right time.
Right.
Absolutely.
Number one, we found our alpha dog that says, "Get behind me, DMX, with a hood at." I'm taking you. That's Jihad Campbell. Jihad Campbell's the guy. Campbell's like, "Get behind me. I'm taking everybody to the hood. Fly on me." That's Jihad Campbell. Jihad Campbell's taking everybody right now. So that's the guy we found on defense. Bama's hopped on him. I'm proud of what we're doing right now on defense behind Kane Womack. Offensively, it's like I mentioned, we've gotten some things. We just got to put everything in firm order here. The big plays as well as sustaining some drives. But you get out of this game, nobody gets hurt, as Petty mentioned, no crazy injury. You get out of here. You didn't have a letdown. You did lay down the law. You did get the win. You saw a lot of young guys play. You force takeaways. You get a non-offensive touchdown. Your main thing now is take your tail in the next week, have a strong week of practice, get yourself prepared for Oklahoma, and go up there to Norman and kick Norman's teeth in.
There you go. There you go.
Not the teeth.
We appreciate you, brother. Thank you for your time and making time for us as opposed to the many million Steven maniacs in the background running wild, brother.
Look, man. I got to get home, and I got to get home to my old job of dad right here because because baby girl at home going to dad get bomb rushed again. Yeah.
Life chose you.
Yeah, man. Hey, y'all keep rocking them, man. I appreciate it.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
take care,
Yes, sir.
Man, Steven.
All right,
Lord.
CC, it's your turn, and then Matt's gonna give his 2 cents, and then we'll move on.
I would say one of my positive takeaways was the time of possession. So going into this game, our average time of possession, if I remember correctly, was maybe around 29 minutes, and theirs was maybe 32 or 33. And in this game, ours was a little higher, maybe 33 or 34 minutes, and that's what I wanted to see, especially because a lot of times you can kind of hold on to the ball a little bit more when you can sustain the drives. You can run the ball. And some plays, I did notice that we were kind of throwing those deep balls, and I get it in terms of just practicing those. But I wanted us to be able to take more time off the clock and kind of better manage that to some regard. Another positive I would say is working in Rico Scott. I know Steven mentioned Rico Scott, and that's a guy. I mean, you literally see how the sideline reacted. You know what I mean? Like that speaks. But that's one of those. I don't know if there's a technical word for it, but that's one of those moments where you have the other guys who are sitting on the sideline wondering when they're going to be able to get their chance, right? You have the guys that are coming in next year, and sometimes I'm sure they could probably feel discouraged if they see other guys out there always getting those targets. And so just to see him come down with that big play, I think that probably, I would say, that motivated some of the other guys. Hopefully someone like Jalen Hill, we'll see him in the playoffs. Maybe he'll be healthy, but that should motivate him because we know he's a playmaker. I would say not so positive. I know we didn't have a whole lot of penalties, but I still want to see us kind of work just a little bit, because what I noticed, it seems like in that first quarter, I don't know if we were a little bit sluggish, or it was just something where it seemed like, okay, and then we kind of like got into the rhythm. I would say that. And then, just making sure we finished tackles. I know that because I didn't like that we let them run. I mean, to be honest, they only had a few guys that they were really, throwing the ball to, that was running the ball. So, we did kind of let them move the ball down the field a couple times when we could have just, went ahead and taking them on out. But other than that's all I'll say.
In terms of penalties, you're absolutely right. I don't care who the opponent is. You definitely want to limit those. It just shows attention to detail and self-discipline. We had 5 today, which is a lot better than what we have been averaging. So shout out there. And really, the penalties really didn't start coming until late in the game when some of the young guys were in. That's to be expected, but again, you gotta be almost perfect this part of the season, because there are no easy wins from this point forward. Matt, take us home on this topic, and then we're gonna start to kind of wind things down a little bit.
Positive, got the win, as you guys mentioned, healthy. Got to play a lot of young guys. I think that just helps team morale and camaraderie. Not so positive. I think I think I'm gonna start with Caleb Odom. I wish he would have just capitalized on his opportunity a little bit more. I think he had an offside penalty. I think he got to start the game. I think he had the big drop that would have had us like on the 1 yard line or possibly a touchdown. I wanted him to take that next step because I think he's gotten so much. He has so much talent. He was able to make 2 catches with Ty Simpson, 2 or 3. I get it, but I'm saying when you're with the ones, man, those opportunities don't come that often. Take advantage of that. Obviously, the defense was great. Special teams, they were solid. It was good to see Mbakwe try to make a little wiggle room. I still think we could put Kendrick Law at punt return. But the not so positive, I've been saying it all day. Nick Sheridan, he's got to be able to have creative runs, and I think it just formation, run more formation, run more shot, run less shotgun, run pistol heavy, counters, whatever. You can run the concepts with just different formations. And listen, I think Richard Young needs more carries. So that's my not so positive takeaways.
Valid. Agree. All right. Real quick, we got a couple more super chats. Jeremy Matthews, $4.99. Thank you. Rich Young is from the same city as Prime, Sammy Watkins, and Mount Cody.
I hear you.
Then the illustrious Don Parker, $5. Good to see Stephen M. Shout out from the Skyline crew. Again, I don't care if the score was 100-0. The standard is still the standard. Absolutely. And let's take a quick break to acknowledge the official sponsor of the post-game show, and that is Title Towel. Listen, your season is not complete without your own Title Towel. We definitely can't get to the playoffs unless you are waving your Title Towel proudly. How do you get them, you ask? Go to www.whitwillsports.com and enter the promo code STANDARD. Get you a nice little discount courtesy of your favorite network, the Bama Standard Network. Get your Title Towel today. All right, so as we wind things down, what we like to do is talk about what's ahead, give a small preview. Bama going forward. We've said it several times throughout the program. Next week is a trip to Norman. Now, Oklahoma is not playing up to Oklahoma standards. We get that. They are struggling, but it's still a home game. It's going to be in a crazy environment. It's at night. Things can go from bad to really all right to trouble in a dime. So let's talk about that. After what we've seen against Missouri, LSU, and then today, where's our comfort level going into Oklahoma? Again, every game at this point is an elimination game.
Playoffs have started now.
How do we feel? Start us out, Pay, then Cici and Matt.
I feel good about it, man. Look, you can't take any game for granted. Whatever we've learned this season, if this season hasn't taught us anything, it's that every Saturday counts, and you better buckle up your chin strap or you're going to get beat. You can go into Vanderbilt and lose, and you can definitely go into Norman, Oklahoma. And look, this is, even though their season hasn't been what they wanted it to be, they still got a good defense. And this is part of what's excited them about coming to the SEC is playing in big games like this. So scratch the rest of their season. They'll look at this as a Super Bowl. They get to play Alabama at home at night, win this game, and you can build off your season. You can build recruiting. You can do all kind of great things off of an Alabama win. So trust me, you're going to go into Norman, and it's going to be as much of a hornet's nest as it can be. With that said, my expectations are Alabama has hit another level right now. I don't think Oklahoma has near the offense to score on this defense that is absolutely hitting its stride. Its defense may give some struggle out of the gate, but I expect the offense to get rolling like it did down in Baton Rouge and go take care of business in Oklahoma. We'll see what happens if Florida's got a tight game going with LSU right now and what goes on with Tennessee, Georgia tonight. Tennessee gets knocked off, and we're looking like we're going to Atlanta. So, man, this is a season that midway through, everybody was ready to jump off a cliff, and now we're looking at it like, shit, we're a legit title contender. I think there's 4 or 5 teams right now in all of college football that can say that, and Alabama is absolutely one of them. So that's my expectations, man. Like Stephen was talking about, you go in, you have a good week of preparation, you get prepared to go for a road SEC game. You don't take this shit lightly, and you take care of business.
Cici? Let's hear from you. How do you feel going into this game? We know the stakes for Alabama, but as Petty said on the Oklahoma side, it gives them an opportunity to salvage their season, take down the giant of the conference right now, the other giant other than Ole Miss, but also too, you got to look at their coach right now. His job might be on the line. If they win this game, you're looking at possibly saving his job. So there's a lot going on besides just going head to head on the field.
Yeah, and I would say, to the Oklahoma fan base and the team, to be exact, that this Alabama team that they're getting is not the same team that Vanderbilt got, and it's not the same team that Tennessee got. I believe coming off of the win that we had against LSU on the road, I believe that whatever doubts were there, after that loss to Tennessee, all of that has been corrected, I would say, and that confidence is there. Now, I know it's a night game on the road. It's Oklahoma. Like you said, their defense it's been pretty good, but I'm pretty confident. I believe that because we see what happens when Milroe, when he's poised and when he's confident, and when we can get out there, we can have that momentum work in our favor, and we can score fast. That way you start to put them away, pretty early, so that even when if you make those costly penalties, it doesn't bite you too much in the butt, if that makes sense. So what I anticipate is, what I see happening is Sheridan has understood the importance of the run game. So I don't see that going away. So we're guaranteed that we're going to see that, so that we're not as one dimensional as we looked, in the Tennessee game, for example. But I also believe that we're going to see Alabama spread it out a little bit more. I believe we're going to see Emmanuel Henderson Jr. on some key plays in that game, but it's going to be certain guys. I believe that may be a game for Kendrick Law, if you will. I think that may be a good game to see him do his thing. I know today he didn't have the best game, but we do know that he's capable. So I just see us going out there with the confidence that we have, coming off of a big win against LSU on the road, coming off of a big win against Mercer that's 9-1. That the momentum is there, 100%. And then you see who those leaders are. In that post-game interview, I was a reporter that was interviewing Milroe, and he said, we're not one-dimensional. And apparently, that's something that may have gone back to the team, where they kind of felt like, okay, well, look at what Tennessee did to Alabama, and it kind of it forced him to just basically force the ball down Ryan Williams' throat and kind of shook him up a bit. So I believe, we're already beyond this whole concept of being 1-0 every single week. At this point, we have to win. We have to win convincingly. Like a game today, you couldn't just win that 35-10. You know what I mean? Like, it had to be what it was. Going up against Oklahoma, it's going to have to be the same. Going up against Auburn at home, we just have to continue to win convincingly. We saw that we only moved up to 10 after beating LSU the way that we did. So it goes back to the college football playoff. At what point does the rules actually matter? Because you can't bend and break when it suits certain teams. You can't say that the strengths of wins and losses matter this particular week, but then it doesn't on this week. Because if we have beaten the most ranked opponents in the top 25, that should mean something. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's too much bias, and it's too many unknowns where they're able to kind of push things around depending on the matchups that they potentially want to see in the playoff contention. So they want to see Alabama versus Indiana, so they know to put Alabama at 10 and Indiana. You know what I mean? It's just that's one thing that I don't like.
God, let's pray for that.
Yeah, please.
Please, God, let us stay at 10 and catch Indiana
true.
And
no,
bring
I'm
the
just saying,
like, you in the second round is the number 3.
That's true. But I guess my point is that it's coming down to the wire, where it'll be different if we only had one loss or no losses. We have 2. So a team with 2 losses, like, even, look at Georgia, like, you can't afford to make those costly penalties. You know what I mean? You can't afford to beat a team by 10, 20 points that's in the same conference as you, even if they don't have that good of a record. So, I just think the guys, to me, I feel confident that they see not just what the expectation is on the outside looking in from the fan base, but it's like they're going backwards and saying, okay, we got to remember what we're here for. We got to remember what we said going into the season, and what our goals are. So, I'm confident. I think we're going to have another 40-ish to 10, 13 possibly. But yeah.
Love it. Matt, talk to us. You're the last voice we hear on this topic, but give it to me in a different perspective as a former player in this type of situation when you're going into an environment on the road that could get pretty crazy, and you're playing against a team with literally at this point nothing to lose. How dangerous can that be? And then where's your comfort level and us rising to the occasion again?
I'm comfortable with this group of guys. I think they got the right mindset. They got the right leaders up front. Booker's truly become a leader on the offensive line side, and Jahad Campbell on the defensive side. So I think having those guys kind of take over the leadership, I think we kind of handled our road woes. Obviously going 0-2 in the state of Tennessee, but listen, this is a big game. Petty mentioned earlier, this is playoff. Anytime you got to go on the road in the SEC night game, hostile environment. Luckily, we were able to do it versus LSU. We've got to be able to handle that and be effective. Like she said, we can't. We got to have good style points. We got to get back to being dominant the next 2 weeks. But right now, just focus on Oklahoma. Brent Venables, he presents a lot of challenges, especially defensively. He's going to look at the Mercer tape, the Bandy tape, all those things. So, listen, you're dealing with two coaches coming up that are kind of tricky. You can never count them out at the poker table. So they can always throw something out on you that you maybe not be prepared for. And like Petty said, this Alabama's their Super Bowl. So we got to go in with the mindset of with knowing that we got to play flawless execution and just be dominant. And I think if we do that, and Nick Sheridan is creative running the ball from different formations, getting the running backs going, we could make it so much easier on ourselves the next 2 weeks. We can keep the defense off the field, have 10-minute drives, just ground and pound. I mean, control the game, make it so much easier for you where you can get out Norman with a great victory and get prepared for Auburn and, the Iron Bowl. So, I think if we can focus on that, build on that, we'll be fine.
Great way to bring a close to that. Before we give our players of the game, Sishi, there's a question for you from Ephraim. What quarter will Sooners leave out the stadium?
I believe it'll probably be maybe third quarter, 6 to 7 minutes left in the third quarter.
We'll take it.
Can I answer that? David had a question about. Can I answer that one, Justin?
Oh, I'm afraid of the answer.
Oh no.
Yes, David. Why they have us at night game?
Man, this one's kind of a simple one, and no, it's not smart. There's 3 reasons. One, the SEC slate is very watered down. The only other games, I think, Ole Miss and Florida are the early game on ABC, and then it's just a bunch of bad games. Secondly, man, Oklahoma is a blue blood. This is the first time they're getting to play Alabama as an SEC school, so you're getting 2 blue bloods going against each other, and again, in a watered down slate. And on top of it, if you look at TV ratings, Alabama's the number 1 draw in college football. Alabama and Ohio State. So whenever TVs can put Alabama on prime time, I hate it for the rest of the country. You can get your panties. Why do we not get this? It's because Alabama gets the numbers. It's about money. It's ratings, baby. You get blue bloods, and they want those eyes. Alabama brings eyes.
Okay. I thought you were going to go the Lane Kiffin direction here, but
because they keep screwing damn Ole Miss. No, I don't know.
Gotcha. All right. This move on to the very last topic. Very simple. We're going to go around the room real quick and give our players of the game on both sides of the ball. Start us out, Sishi, then Matt and Petty. Who do you have?
Offense, they're actually from the same position group to Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams, he just had a few catches, but they were definitely impactful. So I would definitely have, and then the 2 touchdowns. So I would definitely have to go with those 2 on offense. Defense, Quay Russaw and actually, well, I want to do 3 for defense because it's hard not to. I would say I said on Crimson for real, because I said on Crimson Dynasty this week that I felt like this was going to be a big game for the secondary. I really and I still believe that we showed up, like Damani, for example, Quay Russaw, and then of course Jahad Campbell. You can't leave him out. So I mean,
right.
I'll go with those.
I swear
3
you got some James in your blood, Sishi.
Yeah,
I got someone.
defense, Chris James.
I mean, but honestly, it's hard to like.
It was hard
because if,
today. So
you
many
know,
guys.
if you just say Quay Russaw, there's no way you can sit Jahad Campbell.
No, in a day like today with Damani Jackson, you could throw him in there. You could throw in Brown with his return. Like, I'm with you, CC. Today, I like giving you a hard time, but this is a tough one because so many guys did things in a day like today.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, understandable. Chris usually likes to name 12 people, whatever the category is. So
hey, he pulls up the roster.
He does.
He pulls up the roster and sorts it by position group.
You got it. Okay, Matt, who did you see that caught your eye that was a difference maker today?
Shoot. I'm gonna go. You said difference maker. Shoot.
Or give me your players of the game. Yeah.
Ryan Williams and obviously Milroe, 3 touchdowns. And I'm gonna go a sleeper, Richard Young, because he needs more carries. Give him more carries. Shouts out to Caden Proctor. He should have had a touchdown, but he shouldn't have had a touchdown, but he gave it away. Defensively, I mean, I'm gonna go with the man. I mean, Jahad Campbell. I mean, I think this guy is just setting the tone for the defense, and really, the defense is really feeding off these guys, especially Kane Womack. I think they got a good gel. Whatever they're doing is working, so keep it going. So those are my 2 or 3 players of the game.
Love them, Petty.
Man, I think if the game would have kept playing out, Williams would have put up some stupid numbers. So Ryan Williams would be an easy one with his 2 touchdowns, or Milroe. I'm gonna go with the big nasty. I am gonna go with Booker. This was an offensive lineman day. He's really like Matt spoke on earlier. He's taken the leadership role on this offensive line. I know Don would like him to be more consistent in the run game, and we all would. But I do think Booker has become just an absolute beast over there. What we expected him. And I got to give it to Campbell, man. He's just becoming what I know Alabama linebackers to be: tall, big tanks that have speed, that can run sideline to sideline, heady, making plays all over the place, just a disruptive force all over the football field. Man, I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Campbell right now. So I'm going with Campbell and Booker.
Can't go wrong there. For me, offensively, I got to give it to the blue-collar guy who really never gets the love he should. And that's Robbie Oots, 44-yard touchdown today.
Yeah, good one.
Can't take that away from him. He's a guy who shows up to work every week, does not complain, does all the dirty, nasty things that we don't often see. Just definitely not one of those guys who's always getting the glory, but today he had that opportunity, so hats off to him. Defensively, got to go with Jahad Campbell. There's no linebacker in the country right now playing better than him. And you can argue it all you want, but that's the fact. Well, as we close up shop, if you would, folks, I want you to tell everyone how they can find you on social media, and then give us a little bit on your shows, and so these people here can be a part of it every week. Start us out, Sishi, and go to Matt and then Petty.
Yep, you can find me right here on the Bama Standard Network every Wednesday night on the Crimson Dynasty. I'm actually the host there with 2 awesome co-hosts. We air every Wednesday night, 6:30 Central Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're very engaged with the live chat, so it's a very interactive show, and we like to do like a good preview prior to the next opponent. So it's a fun show, and then you can find me on X, official Sishi without the apostrophe, and then on Instagram at beauty_of_intelligence. Yep, all 30 or 40, however many characters those are. Yeah, you can. Yeah,
that's actually a short
like Danny
story.
Targaryen.
I know.
King of the Andals.
And I'm gonna keep it that long too. I thought about changing it, but I'm like, nope. I want them to have a hard time finding it.
It should be.
Because you shouldn't be on it anyway.
There you go. That means they were intentional. They sought you out.
I know. I'm gonna try to slide up in my DMs.
Oh no.
Don't be sliding.
Matt, not promoting and sliding into your DMs, but how can folks find you, and tell us a little bit about the Final Whistle?
Listen, find me every Tuesday night on the Final Whistle here on the Bama Standard, where I'm with the Avengers, Petty, Justin, Lushawn, Dan, Ty Hayes, and Chris James. But listen, you can follow me on Twitter, mcadell11. You see it at the bottom of the screen, where I will be on the burner phone talking to Nick Sheridan. Please, Nick Sheridan, get it right. It's not that hard. We need to bring back old school football these next 2 weeks, and it'll make it so much easier for us moving forward. So, but at the end of the day, roll tide. I'm glad we got a victory, baby. Let's roll.
Absolutely. Make offenses old school again. Heard. Petty.
You can find me at Twitter X, Petty _ Daniel.
What's that, Mooga? Mooga. Get us a Mooga hat.
Yes, it. Found only Nugget Shop.
Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
Love it. You can find me with that knucklehead on Tuesday nights at the final whistle at 8 Central, just cutting. If you don't know what we're doing, you haven't been paying attention. We cut up and talk a little bit Alabama football. You can also catch me on Monday nights at 7 Central with my man Gerald Smoke Dixon on the opening kick. We talk all of college football, but we talk the biggest games. So if you haven't been paying attention, Bama's been playing a lot of those. So for you Crimson Tide fans, we are talking a lot of Alabama on there as well. But we do touch down on any of the big topics in college football. My man Smoke's always spitting truth. So check us out there, 7 o'clock Central, Monday night, the opening kick. And again, Tuesday night with my guy, Matt, down there talking shit on the final whistle. But hey, man, and I'm always here on the post game usually. I might not be next week. I may be out of town, but I'm usually here with y'all. So catch us there, man. And as always, roll tide, guys. Let's ride this thing on out.
Petty is going to invade Gainesville next Saturday.
I'm headed to the swamp next Saturday, guys.
Yeah, because you're
the thing is, Bama's playing the night game, so I'm gonna be there at like noon. I'll be home by 6:30. I'll probably be on for the Bama post game.
Okay.
And if Ole Miss and Bama win, I may probably have a cocktail or two in me. I'll be talking a lot of shit that night.
Lord.
Go streaking.
The only way.
I might not have clothes on. I've only got a shirt on now.
Mike Tyson
like Donald Duck
outfit.
up in this bitch.
But with a better stream.
What do you say?
It's like Donald Duck up in this bitch.
Don't be ratchet. Don't be ratchet.
No, there's no other way he knows how to be. So
You too.
You saying I'm an instigator?
Yeah, you might as well. Hey, we actually should probably have like a new show on the network that's called like The Ratchet Corner or something like that, where we just go completely in. Like we should.
Yeah.
We really should.
Let it go.
Well, we
After
do
hours,
have
ratchet.
I know.
We do actually have a new show on this network for all the Alabama basketball fans. Thursday night is 7:30 p.m. Central, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You got Going Hard in the Paint. Petty up there who forgot to mention his show.
I'm a dumbass. I'm on that show too.
Yes, JT, and then Herb from the Herb and Raj podcast will be bringing you the latest in Alabama basketball news and previewing upcoming games. Tough loss yesterday, but got a long way to go. The team you saw last night will not be the same team in March, so no need to get down about that. And as always, the Bama Standard will be on Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Show us some love. Show love to all of the great shows we have on this network. And thank you to everyone who showed up in the chat. And thank you for all the folks who donated through Super Chat. We greatly appreciate everything. Thank you to our sponsor, Whitwell Sports, for keeping the lights on so we can run this great show after every Bama game. But that's going to do it for us. Roll Tide.
334 Gus says she likes the idea of the ratchet corner. So
The ratchet corner.
Bama's ratchet corner or something like that. I'm just saying.
Y'all want me to
we
turn
may
it up
have
another
to
level.
green
with our roast session. So we got the Auburn matchup coming up. So
yeah, Matt's all about those.
Yeah,
I think that's how I want him over.
Yeah, I think you just got a panelist volunteer right here.
No, that'd be cool. That'd be cool for real.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll.
Oh.
Hey.